I actually used to think the best way to get my house under control was go all in. I'd get huge bursts of energy on the weekend. I'd drag everything out of every corner of every room, and I'd actually try to get the whole house done in 2 days. And then I'd burn out halfway through, surrounded by piles that somehow made it worse than when I started. All I really needed was 10 minutes and a timer. That's it. I'm an organizing expert with ADHD, and I call this hack the 10-minute sweep. When you use the 10-minute sweep, you're not just tidying, you're literally calming your nervous system. You're showing your brain, see, we finished something. And then that creates momentum to start again tomorrow. So when people ask me, how do I start? You just need to start the right way and rewire your brain for success instead of failure. Now, if you want to try it, here's how you do it. Don't overthink this part. That's where people usually get stuck. First, I want you to pick one small zone. It can be your island, your entryway, your bathroom countertop. It doesn't matter. It can even be one tiny single drawer. The smaller, actually, the better, because the goal isn't to do everything. It's to finish something. And honestly, it has saved my clients and me from drowning in clutter, because what I realized is that most people, especially if your brain works a little like mine, fall into what we call the all or nothing trap. If you can't do it perfectly or completely, we don't do it at all. We wait until the perfect Saturday afternoon, or until the kids are gone, or until your partner goes away for the weekend, and then, of course, it never really happens. And then next, I want you to set a timer for 10 minutes. Not 15, not 30, just 10. Productivity and neurocognitive research say that our brains love 10 minutes. 10-minute feels doable, and your brain won't resist it. It's short enough that you can trick yourself into starting, and that's what I want you to do. I remember coming home one night after a long day, and honestly, I was just done. I remember I can see the dishes were in the sink. There was mail everywhere, and my brain couldn't handle anything else. And I kind of just stood there and thought, okay, what if I just did 10 minutes? So I grabbed my phone, I set a 10-minute timer, and I just started. And honestly, by the time the timer went off, the counters were clear, the dishwasher was running, and I felt way lighter. That tiny win completely flipped the script for me, because what I realized is that it wasn't about having more time. It was about making the time that I had actually count. Your third step is to clear, sort, and reset just that one area. You don't need fancy bins and matching organizing stuff. Honestly, you just need to make a few decisions. Ask yourself, what actually gets used? What's just taking up room? And what deserves a proper home? Maybe it's the stack of mail on the counter, or the random cords in the junk drawer, or the 5 half-used empty bottles under the sink. The point isn't to make it perfect, it's just to make it work. Then once you start, momentum takes over. And there is a reason why this actually works. Psychology shows that small wins build momentum. Every time you finish something, even a small task, your brain releases dopamine, that feel-good transmitter that says, hey, that felt good, let's do this again. Step 4 is easy. Stop when the timer goes off. Even if you're mid-task, I want you to stop, because that's what rewires your brain to see decluttering and organizing as achievable. You're proving that this can be light, it can be quick, and it's not emotionally draining. And here's my favorite part. You can make it family friendly. I've got clients who do the 10-minute sweep with their kids before bed. They turn it into a race, basically. Who can put away the most toys or clear the most surfaces before the timer runs out? And suddenly, what used to feel like nagging becomes a challenge. It's not clean up your room. It's let's see what we can get done in 10. You can do the same with your partner too. One person resets the entryway, the other does the dishes, or resets the living room. It turns into 10 minutes of teamwork instead of hours of resentment. And when everybody's on the clock together, it changes the whole energy of the house. Now, let's talk about what's actually happening before you start, because this is where people get discouraged. They think 10 minutes isn't going to make a difference, but it will. I'll explain the science behind it. When your brain is overwhelmed, your prefrontal cortex, the part that handles planning and decision making, basically shuts down. It's like trying to open 100 browser tasks on your computer all at once. Everything lags, nothing loads, and even the smallest task feels impossible. But when you set a simple goal, like 10 minutes, your brain relaxes and it doesn't see the job as a threat. You've created what's called a low friction entry point, and that's the key to getting started. Once you start, your brain releases dopamine. It's not just an end of task chemical that we think it is. That's the little hit that you get at the beginning when you actually start, and that's what keeps you going. Dopamine's there too. And then by the time your timer goes off, you're already in motion. And if you stop there, perfect. You've made progress. You've still succeeded. Once you practice this a few times too, you can keep going after the timer goes off, but you really don't have to. Either way, you're teaching your brain that organizing doesn't have to mean overwhelm. And here's something I see all the time with clients. The one small win usually leads to something bigger. You do a 10-minute sweep on the counter, and before you know it, you're wiping the stove. Or you clear the table by the door that has all the mail stacked up, and somehow the shoes end up getting organized too. That's momentum. And momentum, not motivation, is what gets your homes organized. Now, if your brain tends to chase novelty like mine, meaning you get bored really easily, rotate. Rotate your spaces. One night, work on the clothes that are on your floor. The next night, work on your nightstand. Don't worry about trying to build a rigid routine right away. You're building a pattern of success. That's how your brain learns to trust you again. Because what you've said, I'll deal with it later, or I'll start Saturday, over and over, your brain starts to doubt you. But when you do something small and you complete it, you're rebuilding that trust. And that, to me, is where real organization starts. Sometimes I'll even pair my 10-minute sweep with something I actually enjoy, like a podcast or a playlist. It turns it into something that's fun instead of a ritual or a punishment. And over time, your home starts to reflect that calm. I'll tell you one more quick story. A client who's a friend of mine, Sarah, she used to call me every few months completely overwhelmed. And she'd say, Megan, I swear I just did a big declutter and somehow it's all back again. And what we realized was that she wasn't maintaining, she was marathoning. She'd wait until things got unbearable and then she'd try to fix it all at once. Once she started doing the 10-minute sweep every night before bed, everything changed. Her mornings felt lighter. Little things changed, like she stopped losing her keys. And most importantly, she started trusting herself again because she wasn't waiting for the weekend to rescue everything and rescue her anymore. She had a system that worked in real life. And that's what I want for you too. That's why the 10-minute sweep works. And it works so well with ADHD brains, but honestly, it works with any busy brain because it shrinks the task down to something that you can actually finish. Boom! And that's the relief that you feel. It's not just visual, it's neurological. So tonight, try it. Pick one space. I don't care what it is, the counter, your dresser, your desk, just pick it. Set a timer for 10 minutes and just start. You'll be amazed at how much better your space and your head feel when you stop waiting for the perfect time to start. And here's the best part. When you finish and you look around at the space you just did, your brain says, we did it. And that's the feeling that we're chasing. It's not perfection. It's just a little bit of peace. You're choosing you over your stuff, and that choice never gets old. If this helped, give this video a like so more people can find it, because we all deserve to live a little calmer and a little lighter and feel that freedom from the weight of clutter. And if you love this, make sure you're subscribed because I want you to be able to find me, because next week I'm sharing one tiny daily habit that keeps the calm going. It pairs perfectly with the 10-minute sweep. It's a small add-on that makes the piece you just created last a whole lot longer.